They hold one, and there would be a coin flip for the Miami one, because Miami's tied for 10th. Oklahoma City is top 18 protected, and the Thunder are 18 right now.
Ooh.
So they would not get that. The Lakers are 4th. That pick is top 5 protected, so they would have a 16% chance to get either number 6 or 7 in the draft lottery. So definitely one, their own, which would be top 6 right now. 2 is literally a coin flip. And then Oklahoma City is 2 games back of Washington. And not looking good, and Miami's struggling too. So that's tight. So, yeah, it's very interesting. That last game, they could end up having to win or lose to help their spot. Like if Miami's 12th and the Sixers would beat them, then maybe the pick is 11 and they can go one spot earlier, and depending how it goes. So it's extremely interesting.
Yeah, that would be very interesting if that Heat game came to the end and both teams theoretically would try to either lose that game. You know, the Heat could say, look, we don't even want to make the playoffs, and we'd rather just get the picks. That would be a really ugly situation there. But so 4 picks right now, only 1 currently held by the 76ers. Now, obviously, the day after the national championship game, a lot of people ask because you just saw a lot of the top college players. But after seeing the Final Four in the NCAA tournament and basically a full season of Sixers basketball, if the Sixers were to be in that number 1 or 2 spot, do you still think, Tom, or did you think before that they would go with a big man?
1, I think they would. I think if it's number 1, they would. 2 is very interesting. I think perhaps if it were Towns at 2, just my supposition with his skill set, et cetera, and maybe he could play with Embiid, whereas maybe Okafor wouldn't work as well. I could see that happening. But with Sam Hinkie, he would consider any and all offers, moving down, moving up, whatever he can get. And then you have Russell and Moutier, and it's very interesting. I wrote my column for this past Sunday on what happens if they get number 2. And there's just so many things that could transpire in that scenario. And, Sam plays it close to the vest, so nobody really knows, and he may not know right now.
Yeah, he is obviously a tough guy to read, and obviously last year they ended up in the 3 spot, which put them in an odd spot too. They ended up with Joel Embiid. We didn't see him play at all, Tom, but I know he has been on the court doing a lot of more activity. How far along has he come, and the little that you've seen of him, do you get the feeling that this guy is going to be the real deal?
He's very athletic. Got pretty good shooting range. Shooting standstill shots, but he can shoot, pretty well 16, 17 feet. I could see him, and Brett Brown had said that there's a good chance he'd be the 4 on offense and Noel the 5, and then flip-flop on defense with Noel chasing the, power forward to shoot out the three-point line and all, and Embiid being in the middle with his size and, just strength, et cetera. But, he certainly has a lot of potential. He's very raw. But he graduated to playing 2-on-2, apparently. We did not see that today. We just saw him shooting some threes, low post moves, and mid-range shots. But Brett Brown said that. He's not going to play in the last 4 games, which is not a surprise. But this summer, they want him to play in July in the summer league. And, get a taste, see where he is, and kind of go from there.
Yeah, and it seems like the little video that kind of comes out from time to time, and just hearing people see him early when he warms up at about 5:30, I guess they joke that that's the best time to get to the arena so you can actually see him out on the floor, that the skill set is obviously there, and obviously you don't know what he'll look like in a real NBA game, but there's no denying that he has, it looks like, the skill set to be a serviceable, minimally NBA player, no?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think if there's one guy who could be an all-star on this roster now, he's it. I'm not saying he will. Depends on health, work ethic, other factors. But just with his size and raw ability, potential, etc., they have kind of dialed back what he does before games, on the court at least. But, I mean, the Sixers are inviting season ticket holders to get the games early, like the season ticket holders, just to watch them work out. Honestly, on the roster now, the fans care about two guys, Embiid and Noel. And Embiid hasn't talked. The Sixers haven't let him talk since media day in September. So it's pretty much like all Noel all the time, from my standpoint. Just page views and videos and stuff like that. So I posted a video of some of that workout stuff today and some of the players, Embiid working out, some of the players, and Brown, just about what they've seen and what he could possibly become. And, I guess we'll get to talk to him maybe the day after the season ends and kind of see where he is and what the plan is for the summer, hopefully.
We're talking with Sixers beat writer Tom Moore on, obviously, the Sixers season coming down to the stretch here, 4 games left. You tweeted today, Tom, from Brett Brown, that the record will look similar, but the program is light years better. Do you agree with that? Do you look at this program? You were around last year, you were around this year, and been around a long time, this program. Do you agree that this program is light years better than where it was last year?
I understand what he's saying, but no, I believe that is overstated. They are much better defensively, and I think that's what he's kind of hanging his hat on, but they are much worse offensively. And they've turned the roster pretty much over, in a little over a year, with all the trades and maneuvers, et cetera. And they're going to have at least one first-round pick, maybe 2 if they're lucky, maybe 3 if they're really lucky, come at next year in addition to Embiid. So they're going to, I won't say have to start over, but there's going to be a lot of basic, fundamental, primitive things that they're going to have to start and work their way up. But I understand what he's saying in terms of there's a system in place and the players have a sense of what's expected in the whole sports science thing and all that stuff. But, it's going to be 18 or 19 wins this year, which honestly, Mike, I thought when they started out in 17, I was worried they wouldn't win 12. So that's a credit to Brown and getting them to play hard. And a lot of teams are kind of throwing in the towel at this point of the year. And they've been fairly competitive and, given effort on a consistent basis.
Tom, you look at I heard Jim Lynam the other night on the postgame say that there was no doubt in his mind that this team would take a huge step forward in the 35 to 40 win range. Is that an aggressive number in your mind for next year?
Yes, it is. I love Jimmy, and I started covering the Sixers when Jimmy was the head coach in the late 80s. But my line is Kevin Durant won 19 games his rookie year. I don't see any of these players having the impact of Kevin Durant. He and Oklahoma City didn't get good until they added Harden, Ibaka, and Westbrook. So you need a star, and you need some other stars or borderline stars around them. I think next year, 25 to 27, if things go well, could be reasonable. But I think they should be more competitive. I think there should be more steady growth. And hopefully there won't be another roster turnover. It doesn't mean there won't be some moves at the trade deadline next February. But I think it's kind of time now to start building and getting a nucleus and not necessarily searching for the perfect player who in the last 30 years there might be 2 perfect players, and I would argue maybe Jordan and LeBron, and that's about it. So I do expect next year to really kind of start the real rebuild and setting the stage for 2016, 17, and beyond.
That makes sense because Saric obviously would be 17. Maybe they look at him as kind of that Tony Kukoc, that final piece that comes over. Now, Kukoc obviously wasn't as great as they thought, but maybe the timing there would be, hey, That would be the one last guy that we need to add to all the stuff we've added over the last 3 years. Tom Moore, the Sixers beat writer for Calkins Media, at TMoore76ers on Twitter for the very interesting Final Four games and, of course, the very important Sixers offseason. Always a pleasure, Tom. Thanks so much.
Sure, Mike. Anytime.